What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. A crown jewel is finally here as the WWE presents its second Saudi Arabia Premium Live event of 2022. Join us now as we recap all the matches and provide our exclusive analysis as we look at the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out Wrestlelamia.co.uk and a non-wrestling channel, Incredible. First match of the night was Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. Lashley dominated the match, beginning with a series of spears, as things look bleak for Brock as Lashley applies the hurt lock, but Lesnar somehow makes it to the corner, propelling himself backwards onto Bobby's back and then getting pinned. This was a finish that I would never think that would happen in a Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley match. The winner was Brock Lesnar. Lashley attacks Lesnar after the match, reapplying the hurt lock and raising his arms in victory despite his loss. Looks like the Almighty is on his way back to the heel side. Next up is the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match as Alexa Bliss and Asuka take on Damage Control's Dakota Kai and Io Sky. This is a seesaw battle, but the champions regain the momentum, with Alexa Bliss looking to take Dakota Kai out with Twisted Bliss. Nikki Cross comes out of nowhere, knocking Bliss off the top rope while the referee is distracted by a battling Io Sky and Asuka, as a cover by Dakota for the win. Damage Control managed to get the Women's Tag Team Championships back. Up is a 6-man tag match as the OC of the Judgment Day win the match. Next up, a steel cage match as Drew McIntyre takes on Karrion Kross, who's with Scarlett. Another hoss fight as Drew and Karrion pummel each other mercilessly using the cage as well as their hands and feet. Drew goes to escape through the cage door, but Scarlett pepper sprays him and the referee, locking the cage door. However, Drew overcomes Kross, escaping over the cage while Scarlett hastily tries to unlock the door, but not in time, as Drew McIntyre wins the match. Next up, Braun Strowman goes up against Omos. MVP isn't around to guide Omos as Braun Strowman laid out Omos' manager out on SmackDown. That doesn't seem to be a problem for Omos as the big man manhandles Strowman. Omos' success gives Braun an opening when Omos charges Braun and no one is home, but Strowman gives a running power slam for the win. Next up, the Undisputed Tag Team Championship match as the champions the Usos take on the brawling brutes of Ridge Holland and Butch. As another instance of the WWE making the challengers look like they're gonna win, but once again, the Usos' teamwork trumps their opponents as a blind tag allows them to hit the 1D on Butch for the 1-2-3 as the Usos retain the tag team championships. Next up is our last women's standing match for the Raw Women's Championship as champion Bianca Belair takes on Bayley. Chairs, tables, and golf carts? Oh my, both women try everything to put their opponent down for the 10 count, but Belair secures the win when she sandwiches a beat up Bayley in a ladder in the corner, preventing Bayley from getting to her feet. Belair manages to retain the Raw Women's Championship. Next up, Bray Wyatt shows up and talks about how he hid behind a mask, becoming an indestructible force but isolating himself from everyone he loved. The fans chant that they love Bray, but Wyatt tells them they love the idea of him but that he's going to change his ending. His name is Bray Wyatt and he's going to write his own ending. Uncle Howdy shows up on the Titantron, reminding Bray that he's still hiding behind a mask and that Bray's going to do terrible things that remind him of how good it is to do them. The segment ends when Uncle Howdy tells Wyatt he can't even leave his mask on, rhetorically asking, "Tell me I'm wrong." Now it's time for the main event as Undisputed Champion Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman takes on Logan Paul. This match tells the story of an overconfident champion finding out the hard way of just how capable his upstart opponent is. Paul uses his speed and an amazing array of moves for some near falls, with his brother Jake lending some help for right hands to deal with the Usos. He even came out to "It's everyday bro." Ultimately, Reigns' experience proves too much as Logan returns to the ring while dealing with the outside antics of the Bloodline, walking into a Superman punch and a spear before counting the lights as Roman Reigns retains the Undisputed Championship. But that was a quick recap of Crown Jewel. What about the good, the bad, and the downright ugly? As always, we start off with the good as number 1, a good hoss fight but a weak finish. Omos vs Braun Strowman was a one-sided battle that suggested Omos' overconfidence, and MVP's absence led him to giving the monster among monsters that one opening he needed to get the win. The only downside to the match was Braun defeating Omos with one running power slam. Unless the WWE plans on booking the power slam as an inescapable hold, what's the sense of having Omos lose after just one power slam when other opponents like Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley, and Roman Reigns will likely laugh it off? Number 2, Bray Wyatt's sinister influence. It looks like Bray Wyatt's presence hasn't gone unnoticed by Alexa Bliss, who was visibly shaken during a backstage interview when Wyatt's Firefly symbol briefly played on the backstage screen. This was another example of the WWE's subtle use of Wyatt to affect various superstars while also focusing on Wyatt. Number 3, a strong tag title match. At the Brawling Brutes, Ridge Holland and Butch shows that there's tag team gold in their future. It wasn't just tonight. Like many teams before, the Brutes took the Usos to the limit, so much so that Jey and Jimmy Uso seemed serious about bailing out on their match and taking a countout. Unfortunately, no one expected the Brutes to win, largely thanks to the WWE acknowledging the big money fight between the New Day and the Usos to determine whether Jey and Jimmy will break the New Day's record run as tag team champions. Number 4, Bayley does it again. Congratulations to Bayley for a strong performance against Bianca Belair, and one that hopefully will solidify the EST's reputation as the best that Raw has to offer. Naturally, fans will be eager to see who steps up to challenge Belair next, but there's no denying that Belair's campaigns against both Becky Lynch and Bayley have solidified her spot in the main event. Number 5, a magnificent main event. A Crown Jewel's main event was reminiscent of the first WrestleMania in that the WWE used a celebrity to brilliantly book a crowd-pleasing match. While Logan Paul's odds of winning the match were extremely low, the presentation of Paul as an underdog who was going to beat the odds was wildly entertaining. The match told its story of an overconfident champ and the Rocky Balboa-like challenger, even incorporating the close bond between Jake and Logan Paul as they worked to offset the equally close bond between the bloodline. Some fans may have felt the outcome was inevitable, but there were more than a few fans who suspended disbelief for the match, thinking that maybe the WWE was going to put the belt on Paul. And Logan Paul is the real deal. 3 matches in and Logan Paul looks as if he's been wrestling for 10 years. Granted, Logan has received some amazing training with veterans such as Shawn Michaels, but he's worked hard, capitalizing on these opportunities and expanding his repertoire with every match. Sean Ross Sapp even tweeted, Shawn Michaels said recently that a lot of the celebrities WWE has brought in have been sort of trained in reverse. They're taught the things that they specifically need for their match, and if they hang around they end up learning a lot more of the basics later. Whatever the case, Logan Paul has an amazing mind for the business, and he understands that pro wrestling is as much about the spectacle as it is about athleticism. Fortunately for Paul, he has both, and there's no telling how far the 27-year-old can go if he opts to become a full-time WWE superstar. But that was a good what about the bad, as number 1, hot potatoing a title. A Damage Control regaining the Women's Tag Team Championship was an apparent example of booking to please the customer, in this case the WWE wanting to make the Saudi Sports Authority happy by letting the fans see a title change hands. The problem of course is the WWE just had Alexa Bliss and Asuka win the titles earlier this week on Raw. What was the point of that? Number 2, did they botch the finish? Starting Crown Jewel with Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar was a smart move, as it gave the fans a hoss fight to start things off. Unfortunately, the match was booked incredibly awkward, with Lashley blindsiding Lesnar and nearly putting him out of action right away with a series of spears and what looked like an injury to Lesnar's knee. The WWE booked Lesnar as a sympathetic babyface, but perhaps it was a bit too much as the Beast looked too vulnerable during his match and afterwards. Worse, the match featured so many of the same spots fans have seen with Lesnar and Lashley without any of the technical maneuvers both men are capable of and have shown in the past. Obviously, there's going to be a Brock vs Bobby rubber match at WrestleMania, but this one was a weak finish. Something that many fans weren't too happy about, and it felt like the finish was botched. Some tweeted, what the F kind of finish was that? Weren't Bobby's shoulders off the mat? Now this one was a weak finish, and it should have seen both men battle to a no contest, beating the hell out of each other and not getting up for the 10 count. Obviously this is still going to set up a rematch at the Royal Rumble and end things with a rubber match at WrestleMania 39, preferably a stipulation match such as a Hell in a Cell or Last Man Standing match. Sadly, this was a paint-by-numbers match with little for fans to get excited about other than Lashley's post-match attack that suggests the Almighty could be turning heel again. And good matches but weak finishes. So many of tonight's matches were married by weak finishes, which immediately raises the question why. Controversial finishes, such as Damage Control's tag team title win with the assistance of Nikki Cross, were often acceptable, and nonetheless the finishes for Lashley vs Lesnar, the OC vs Judgment Day and Omos vs Strowman made no sense and did nothing to further any storylines. With the possible exception of MVP showing up and claiming Omos would have won if he'd been at ringside, therefore setting up a rematch, which is definitely going to happen. Likewise, the OC vs Judgment Day finish was a bit puzzling as the WWE had already made it clear what a threat Rhea Ripley is, and the WWE should have had someone such as Raquel Rodriguez show up to neutralize Ripley's interference, setting the stage for War Games. Now there was nothing downright ugly about the show, it was everything you'd expect from a Saudi Arabia show, plenty of spectacle, lots of stars and plenty of moments designed to send the fans home happy and more importantly please the Saudi Sports Authority to those $100 million annual checks continuing to come in. What do you guys think of Crown Jewel? Let us know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.